last night's Elimination Chamber event. Specifically, I wanted to talk about the women's Elimination Chamber match, the main event of Elimination Chamber 2020. So just a couple of quick tidbits about the match. It is the second shortest, at least from my estimation, Elimination Chamber match. The first shortest, or the shortest Elimination Chamber match is, I believe, SummerSlam 03, the one with Goldberg where he gets hit in the head with a baby hammer, even though he should have won the heavyweight championship in that match. That clocked in at about 19 minutes. This match was 21 minutes, so very interesting that they decided to make it the shortest Elimination Chamber match, or second shortest rather. Now, some of the pros from this match, Shayna Baszler is the first person in Elimination Chamber history to eliminate the entire field. She got 5 eliminations. She got 3 of them in very quick succession. So this succeeds in making Shayna look unstoppable and look like a very serious threat to Becky Lynch, because Becky has seemingly become complacent and rather cocky, at least from my viewpoint, my estimation. And I think that other than Shayna giving her a very painful hickey, Becky doesn't seem, as a character, obviously, doesn't seem like she has her eyes on the prize. So this, I think, establishes Shayna as someone who could really ruin Becky's year-long title reign and take the title from her. Other pros that I have in the match. Asuka, of course, looked like a badass because she wasn't scared of Shayna. She was constantly talking trash to her through the pod, which is one of the bright spots of this match. And I like their exchange, trading submissions back and forth, trading pin attempts back and forth. I wish they would have let them go on a little longer because, everyone else is gone. I kind of would have liked it if these two dominant forces, the two most dominant, not only dominant women's champions in NXT history, but the most dominant champions in the entire history of NXT. I wish that match would have had a little bit more hype behind it, or at least that first encounter would have had a little bit more hype behind it, because I think that's something that a lot of people really wanted to see. They really wanted to see those two women wrestle each other in a lengthy match, and they could have hyped up that aspect of the two most dominant women's champions of all time. Shayna, I believe, with her 2 title reigns, has the longest amount of days as champion, but Asuka's reign is one of the longest in WWE history as far as a continuous reign. So with that being said, I wish they would have let them fight a little bit more, but Asuka did look good in the brief amount of time she was in the match. Shayna Baszler, like I said, she looked great. Of course, she looked like a killer. She looked like, kind of like this combination of Ronda Rousey and Brock Lesnar as far as her dominance. But she did have a very fun but short interaction with Liv Morgan. And I feel like even though Liv was in the match the shortest out of anybody, I feel like she looked great in defeat because it really got her over as a underdog that's incredibly tough and doesn't back down from a challenge. And I feel like that's kind of a character that's been missing with some of the women, kind of like a daredevil type of character. You haven't really seen anything like that since Lita, but I feel like she is starting to grow as a character that is very unique among the women, and I'm very curious to see how they develop her character and how she gets better in the ring moving forward. Now, the cons in this match, I guess you could say there are quite a bit, but I'll try to, try not to crap on the match too much, but there's some things that I wanted to point out that I wasn't really a big fan of. One of those things is Shayna doesn't really have any challengers now that she's won the belt, because she essentially defeated the entire Raw women's roster, other than, of course, Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, who's feuding with Rhea Ripley down in NXT. Now, of course, Charlotte will probably be first in line to challenge Shayna as well as Becky if Shayna is to win the title at WrestleMania. But if she doesn't lose to Rhea and she does win the NXT championship and she's back on NXT for a little bit, there's no challengers really for Shayna. She's beaten everybody, and that's not very compelling. No one wants to see Shayna have drawn out feuds with people that she beat in the Elimination Chamber with ease. She beat everybody in a matter of minutes. She eliminated the entire field within 21 minutes. Another thing that I'd like to point out is the fact that the Riot Squad didn't engage with each other at all physically. They only taunted each other, at least Ruby and Liv did, through the pods. And I feel like that was a missed opportunity to have the Riot Squad fight each other. I would have liked them, maybe given the scenario, team up together and maybe try to, at the end, eliminate Shayna, or work together throughout the match and try to eliminate someone. Maybe they eliminate Natalya and then they start to infight and implode, and that costs them, and they start to get eliminated one by one, and then maybe that gets us down to Shayna and Asuka going one-on-one. I also feel like there was a missed opportunity to have Shayna as the last person, because I feel like it would have added some drama to the match if you know that this looming threat, that this just total psycho is just looming in the wings, and you want to get rid of as many people as possible to give yourself the best chance of dealing with this lunatic who is known for breaking people's arms, choking people unconscious, biting people's necks and making them bleed, and doing all these horrific things to people. It really kind of presents her as the boogie woman, so to speak, of the women's division. I feel like that was a missed opportunity. Or even maybe second to last, maybe if you have Asuka and Shayna be 5 and 6, Shayna comes out, kills everybody, and then it's just Asuka and Shayna. There's so many ways that match could have played out to be a little bit better than what it was, because the match overall I don't think was that great as far as a match goes, especially a main event match, your go home pay-per-view, so to speak, for WrestleMania. I feel like you could have structured that match a little bit differently to make everyone look a lot better and just put on a more entertaining matchup for people, because I know they've kind of kid gloved the Elimination Chamber over the last 3 years, I think it is, with more padding and things like that. But people still expect brutality. They expect long, grueling matches where, it might be 20 minutes before the first elimination. People kind of expect that from the Elimination Chamber. And then this one just ended a little north of 20 minutes. So I feel like the match could have been structured a little differently to be more entertaining and be more, digestible for the people watching, because on that front it was very much a letdown. But in the long run, they did a good job of making Shayna look unstoppable, and I look forward to seeing how the build up with her and Becky Lynch plays out. So yeah, thanks for listening. Tuck your chin.